The vastness of space was often a reminder of how small and fragile Earth could feel, but humanity had always believed that there was safety in isolation. The idea that aliens might one day reach out to Earth had always been more of a dream than a reality. Until now. The galaxy had been alive with rumors for months. The Draconians, a highly advanced and powerful alien race, had set their eyes on Earth. Their fleet, vast and powerful, had been seen traveling through the stars, heading in the direction of Earth. And the galaxy waited, holding its breath. The Draconians were known across the galaxy for their military strength. Their ships were massive, and their warriors were fierce. Legends told of their conquests across hundreds of worlds, and the fear they struck into the hearts of other races. It was no surprise that many planets and species looked at Earth with suspicion, unsure of what this new attention meant. Was Earth a new target for conquest, or would the Draconians see it as an ally in their ever-growing empire? The people of Earth, on the other hand, were completely unaware of the situation unfolding in space. The human governments had no reason to believe that anything was amiss. Scientists and military leaders, focused on their own planet's issues, hadn't anticipated such an event. When the first signs appeared, strange energy signals and unidentified ships in Earth's orbit, panic quickly spread. However, there was no reason to fear yet. The Draconians had not yet made contact. For a few days, everything seemed calm. Humanity tried to maintain a sense of normalcy, not fully understanding the weight of the situation. But then, everything changed. On the morning of the fifth day, the Draconian fleet appeared in Earth's atmosphere. Thousands of ships, each one the size of a small city, descended through the clouds, their hulls shimmering in the sunlight. There was no formal communication, no message of intent. They simply arrived. The world watched in shock. News outlets across the planet broadcasted the event live, their cameras capturing the arrival of the unknown. It was a moment that would be written into history forever. The human race had never seen anything like this, and the sight of the massive fleet made their hearts race. The ships, although silent and imposing, gave no hint of violence. The question on everyone's mind was simple: why were they here? But as quickly as they arrived, something strange happened. The fleet, which had been visible to the human eye only moments before, suddenly vanished. It wasn't a gradual disappearance or an optical illusion. The ships were simply gone. One moment they were there, and the next, they were not. The sky above Earth was clear once again, but the people who had witnessed the arrival were left in disbelief. Global communication systems went into overdrive. Military radar stations and satellite systems began scrambling, trying to detect the ships, but they found nothing. The Draconians, whose fleet had been seen only moments before, had vanished without a trace. No ships, no energy readings, nothing. It was as if they had never been there at all. At first, many thought it was a mistake. Perhaps the ships had moved too quickly for detection, or perhaps it was some sort of malfunction with the systems. But as hours passed and no new signals appeared, the reality set in. The Draconian fleet had disappeared, and no one could explain why. News agencies were flooded with questions. Military experts were baffled. Alien technology was far beyond anything Earth had ever developed, but this was something even more unimaginable. The Draconians were known for their mastery of technology, and their fleet had appeared to be in perfect working order. Yet, in an instant, they were gone. As the hours turned to days, the panic that had been growing slowly started to spread. Governments around the world began to fear the worst. Was this a trick? Had the Draconians been planning an attack, only to disappear before launching it? Were they setting a trap, preparing for a second wave of invasion? It wasn't just the governments that were concerned. Ordinary people, watching the news reports, began to wonder if they were next. Conversations turned from curiosity to fear. Some even started to believe that Earth had been marked for destruction. Across the galaxy, the news of the Draconian fleet's disappearance spread like wildfire. Planets that had been following the fleet's movements began to ask the same question. Where did the fleet go? Some thought it was a signal that the Draconians had found something more valuable than Earth. Others, however, whispered that the fleet might have met an unexpected end. In the end, no one could explain it. No one knew where the fleet had gone or why. All they had were questions and a growing sense of unease. As Earth waited for answers, the galaxy was left in shock. The arrival and sudden disappearance of the Draconian fleet would remain a mystery. But for the first time, the eyes of the universe were firmly fixed on Earth, and humanity found itself at the center of a mystery that could change the course of history forever. The sudden disappearance of the Draconian fleet left Earth in a state of confusion and uncertainty. The world's leaders scrambled to understand what had just happened, while scientists and military experts worked day and night trying to analyze the strange event. News agencies around the globe replayed footage of the fleet's arrival and sudden vanishing, but no one had any real answers. The world was at a standstill. Across the globe, the panic was palpable. People didn't know what to think. One moment, an advanced alien fleet appeared in the sky, and the next, it was gone. What did this mean for humanity? Were the Draconians planning something bigger, or was this simply a strange misunderstanding? The fear of the unknown began to take hold, and Earth's population was left to wonder if the worst was yet to come. In the United States, military officials were the first to call for answers. The Pentagon ordered an immediate investigation into the incident, bringing together experts from all fields. Military satellites, which had been monitoring the fleet's movements, had picked up strange signals before the fleet vanished. Some believed that these signals were some kind of warning, while others suggested that Earth might have triggered a signal that the Draconians couldn't ignore. The world's leading scientists were puzzled as well. What was it about Earth that had caused the Draconian fleet to disappear? The Draconians, with their incredible technology, should have been invincible. They had traveled across vast stretches of space, and yet they had vanished as though they had never existed. Experts began to ask themselves, had Earth somehow intercepted their technology? Could humans have developed something that even the Draconians couldn't account for? Meanwhile, across the world, ordinary people watched the news with growing anxiety. Some believed that the Draconians might still be out there, waiting for the right moment to strike. Others wondered if this disappearance was part of something much larger. Had Earth unknowingly become a target for an even greater alien force? Would humanity have to fight back against an invasion from all sides? In Europe, Russia, and China, similar conversations were happening. Governments began to prepare for the worst, strengthening their defenses and keeping an eye on the skies. Yet there was no sign of the Draconians. Their fleet had disappeared without a trace, and it seemed as though the answers humanity needed were slipping further out of reach. Then, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Angela Miller, a researcher at a small observatory in the Midwest, stumbled upon something that could change everything. While examining satellite data, she discovered something strange. An anomaly in Earth's magnetic field. It wasn't just a minor fluctuation, it was something much more significant. The anomaly seemed to pulse with energy, and what was most puzzling was that it seemed to be connected to the exact location where the Draconian fleet had vanished. Could it be possible that Earth's magnetic field had interfered with the Draconians' technology? Dr. Miller's discovery quickly gained attention. While many dismissed the idea at first, the more they looked into it, the more convincing the evidence became. Earth's magnetic field, along with a strange energy signature, appeared to have created an unexpected effect on the Draconian fleet. It was unlike anything the human race had ever encountered. As the scientists and military experts examined the data further, they began to realize that the energy might not have been a weapon at all. Instead, it seemed to be a natural phenomenon that Earth had no control over. The magnetic field, combined with specific cosmic factors, had created a kind of barrier that even the Draconians' advanced ships couldn't navigate. This discovery sent shockwaves through the world. The idea that something as simple as Earth's magnetic field could stop an entire fleet of technologically superior aliens seemed impossible. Some people began to question whether humanity had actually stumbled upon a hidden power, one that could be the key to humanity's survival in the face of future alien threats. The Draconian High Command, still reeling from the loss of their fleet, had no idea that this natural phenomenon existed on Earth. As they searched for answers, their frustration grew. They could not understand why their ships had vanished, and they were left with nothing but confusion and anger. The idea that a planet with such primitive technology could have an influence on their advanced fleet was almost too much to believe. But the evidence was clear. The galaxy began to take notice. News of the Draconian fleet's disappearance spread quickly, and soon other alien species were asking the same questions. How had Earth managed to stop the Draconians? Was this some kind of mistake, or was there something more to Earth's magnetic field than anyone had realized? The situation became even more complex as several factions within the galaxy began to take sides. Some believed that Earth was now an unpredictable and dangerous planet, one that held the power to disrupt even the most advanced technologies. Others saw an opportunity. Perhaps Earth could become an ally, someone who could help balance the power among the galactic empires. But one thing was certain. Earth had caught the attention of the galaxy, and humanity was no longer the quiet species they once were. As Earth's leaders tried to grasp the implications of Dr. Miller's discovery, one thing became clear. The Draconians' sudden disappearance was no accident, and the answers to what happened lay somewhere deep within Earth's unique and mysterious nature. And for the first time in history, humanity found itself at the center of a galactic mystery that could change the fate of the entire galaxy. As days passed since the mysterious disappearance of the Draconian fleet, the question on everyone's mind remained the same. What had happened? Earth's scientific community, military leaders, and world governments were still scrambling to make sense of the situation. Dr. Angela Miller's discovery of the strange anomaly in Earth's magnetic field had sparked new interest in understanding the cause of the fleet's sudden vanishing, but no one had yet fully grasped the true extent of what had happened. The military, while still on high alert, shifted focus. Instead of preparing for a potential invasion, they now found themselves working alongside scientists and astronomers in an attempt to uncover the secrets of this magnetic anomaly. With satellite data being examined, there was no doubt that Earth's magnetic field was not ordinary. It pulsed with strange energy that seemed to interfere with advanced technologies, most notably the Draconians' powerful fleet. Dr. Miller's findings had begun to spread beyond Earth's borders, attracting attention from various alien factions who were eager to understand the phenomenon. Some believed that Earth had unknowingly discovered a new form of defense, something that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. Others, more skeptical, wondered if this was a one-time fluke or a natural occurrence that could soon disappear. Humanity, however, was far from ready to embrace the idea of being the center of galactic attention. Governments were still in the process of securing their borders, ensuring that any new alien threats would be met with force if necessary. The global response had been chaotic, but it was clear that Earth's defenses were growing stronger as nations collaborated like never before. It was only a matter of time before more nations began to share their findings with the rest of the world. On the other side of the galaxy, the Draconian High Command was in turmoil. They had never encountered anything like this before. Their fleet, the pride of their military, had disappeared without a trace, and they couldn't understand why. After their defeat, the Draconians began searching for answers with the same level of determination that they had once used to conquer planets. They sent out scouts, hoping to find a clue or even a sign of what had happened to their fleet. The Draconian Empire, known for its strength and resilience, had never experienced such an unknown event. They were determined to reclaim their lost ships. In the meantime, back on Earth, a growing team of scientists was dedicated to studying the anomaly. Among them was Professor Ethan Carter, a physicist who had been working alongside Dr. Miller. Professor Carter had his own theories about the strange energy that had been recorded during the fleet's disappearance. He suspected that Earth's magnetic field was not only a barrier against advanced technology, but also a force that could manipulate space-time itself. It was a bold theory, one that could change everything humanity understood about the universe. But even as these theories gained traction, not everyone was convinced. Some experts believed that the fleet's disappearance was a coincidence or that it was caused by some other event, not directly related to Earth's magnetic field. The debate was heated, and while new data continued to emerge, the uncertainty remained. Meanwhile, military officials had started to monitor the skies with even greater intensity. They were prepared for anything: an invasion, a communication from the Draconians, or perhaps an entirely new threat. The unknowns were vast, and while they held hope that Earth's magnetic anomaly could offer protection, they knew it could also be a danger in itself. Despite all the chaos, there was one thing that kept humanity united: a desire for answers. People from all walks of life were eager to know why the Draconian fleet had disappeared and what it meant for their future. The world was divided between those who feared alien retribution and those who saw an opportunity for a new chapter in human history. As the days passed, the pressure on the Earth's leaders grew. World governments were forced to make decisions that would determine the future of humanity. Would they prepare for another potential alien invasion? Or would they take the bold step of reaching out to the Draconians in an attempt to communicate and establish peace? A sense of anticipation lingered in the air, and with each passing day, the mystery deepened. Earth had caught the attention of the galaxy, and now humanity had to decide how to play its cards. As the situation became more uncertain, there was one thing everyone knew for sure: things were about to change forever. In the distant reaches of space, the Draconians were not idle. The search for their missing fleet had turned into a full-scale operation, with scouts combing through nearby star systems. The Draconians knew they couldn't let this event go unanswered. The fleet's disappearance could not be ignored, and their leaders, though frustrated, remained determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. They knew that whatever had caused the fleet's loss could potentially happen again. They were willing to do whatever it took to ensure their dominance in the galaxy remained unquestioned. Back on Earth, there was no turning back. As the world worked together to uncover the truth, the clock ticked. Every new discovery and piece of information brought them closer to understanding what had happened to the Draconian fleet. But with each step, they also found themselves closer to a crossroads, one that would shape humanity's future in ways no one could predict. As the mystery of the missing Draconian fleet continued to puzzle Earth's scientists, the galaxy watched in anticipation. Humanity had proven that it was not as weak as many other species had once believed. The sudden disappearance of the Draconian ships from Earth's skies had turned the world's attention to an unexpected phenomenon: Earth's magnetic field. Still, despite all the theories and research, the answers remained elusive. On the other side of the galaxy, the Draconian High Command was in turmoil. Their fleet's disappearance had shaken the foundation of their powerful empire. For centuries, the Draconians had ruled the stars with their unmatched technology and fierce warriors. They were an advanced species, accustomed to dominance. Yet, something had happened on Earth that even their best minds could not comprehend. The fleet, which had been sent to assess Earth's potential threat, had simply vanished. Draconian leaders held an emergency council to discuss the situation. The generals and strategists were deeply concerned. Their ships had gone missing, and no one knew why. What could cause an entire fleet to disappear without a trace? Was it the magnetic field on Earth? The idea that a simple planet's natural forces could disrupt their technology was almost too absurd to believe, yet the evidence seemed to support this possibility. But if Earth truly had this power, what else might it be capable of? The Draconian Empire had faced many challenges before, but this was different. They had never met a species with such an unpredictable and powerful effect on their technology. Even with all their advanced weaponry and war strategies, they were helpless in the face of this new, strange phenomenon. For the first time in history, the Draconians realized that they might not be the most powerful beings in the galaxy. While the council deliberated, Draconian scouts were dispatched to the vicinity of Earth, tasked with gathering more information. The scouts were elite soldiers, trained in the art of stealth and reconnaissance. They were skilled at navigating through hostile territories and were experts in finding hidden threats. Their mission was clear. They needed to uncover what had happened to the fleet and determine if Earth posed a threat or if this was just an isolated incident. Back on Earth, the situation was equally tense. Military forces and scientists were still working together to understand the strange anomaly that had caused the Draconian fleet to disappear. Dr. Angela Miller, Professor Ethan Carter, and their team continued to study Earth's magnetic field and the peculiar energy signatures recorded during the fleet's vanishing. Despite their best efforts, they could not fully explain why this phenomenon had occurred. Was it a random event, or was there something more to it? One thing was clear: Earth's magnetic field was unlike anything seen before. The more data they collected, the more they realized that this natural barrier could be the key to stopping any future alien threats. But could it be controlled? And more importantly, could it be used as a weapon? As Earth's governments continued to analyze the situation, the Draconians were preparing for their next move. They were not a species known for retreating or giving up, and their determination to reclaim their lost fleet grew stronger. Their scouts were moving closer to Earth, hoping to find answers that would help them regain their power and ensure that Earth would never again interfere with their empire. Meanwhile, the world's leaders began to consider their options. Should they make contact with the Draconians and attempt to negotiate peace, or should they prepare for the possibility that the Draconians might return with greater force? Some factions within the government argued that humanity should make an alliance with the Draconians, while others believed that Earth had proven itself capable of standing on its own. The debate was fierce, but one thing was certain: Earth had become an important player in the galaxy, and how humanity responded could shape the future of interstellar relations. As the Draconian scouts closed in on Earth, they encountered unexpected resistance. The energy from Earth's magnetic field had begun to affect their ships, disrupting their navigation systems and communication networks. The Draconians, who had once believed their technology was invincible, were now forced to adapt to a new and frightening reality. They could no longer simply rely on their advanced weapons and ships to dominate the galaxy. Something about Earth had changed the balance of power. In the coming days, both Earth and the Draconians would be forced to make difficult choices. Would Earth's magnetic field continue to protect them, or would the Draconians find a way to counteract it? And what would happen if the two forces collided again? The galaxy held its breath, knowing that the answers to these questions would have far-reaching consequences. As Earth's leaders prepared for the possibility of further conflict, they realized that the fate of their world was tied to a much larger story, one that involved not only Earth's survival but the future of the entire galaxy. And in this, the arrival of a Draconian scout ship suddenly shifted the focus of the situation. It had managed to approach the planet, undetected, using a combination of advanced cloaking technology and careful navigation. The Draconians had learned to adapt quickly, no longer assuming that their technology would make them invincible. But what they didn't expect was the reaction of the Earth's magnetic field when they attempted to land. The scout ship began to experience severe technical issues as it crossed the planet's atmosphere. Systems started malfunctioning, navigation was disrupted, and communication with the fleet was lost. For the first time, the Draconians were on the defensive, and they knew they had underestimated Earth's power. The scout ship's crew managed to land, but they were stranded, unable to communicate with their commanders or call for reinforcements. It didn't take long for Earth's military forces to detect the presence of the scout ship. Fearing that the Draconians might use the downed ship as a distraction for a larger assault, the military moved quickly to secure the area. The Draconians, in turn, were forced to send a distress signal to their homeworld, but even this was hindered by the electromagnetic interference caused by Earth's magnetic field. For the first time, the Draconians were at a disadvantage. But what surprised them most was that Earth's forces were not launching an attack. Instead, there was something else happening. Dr. Miller took a deep breath, looking over the team. Beside her stood Professor Carter, who had been working tirelessly to understand the magnetic anomaly. and a few diplomats who had trained for negotiations with alien species. The military advisors remained at a distance, ready to step in should anything go wrong. The atmosphere was tense but hopeful. This meeting was not only a chance for answers, but an opportunity to show the galaxy that Earth was no longer a backwater planet to be ignored. The Draconian scout ship stood in a barren field, its once sleek metal hull now battered and scarred from its crash landing. Earth's military had surrounded the site, but they had done so with caution, not to provoke the Draconians but to ensure that no surprises awaited them. The magnetic field that had caused the Draconian fleet's disappearance was still active, and no one knew how it would affect the situation. As the team walked toward the ship, the doors slowly opened. Inside, the Draconians awaited them. They were not the fierce, imposing warriors that Earth's people had come to fear. Instead, they seemed humbled, unlike anything Earth's representatives had expected. Their once immaculate armor was scratched, their expressions worn from weeks of isolation. Their technology had failed them, and now they were dependent on Earth's goodwill. The lead Draconian, a commander named Korak, stood at the center of the group. He greeted Dr. Miller with a bow, a gesture that caught everyone off guard. Korak spoke first, his voice low but sincere. "We did not come here for war. We came for answers." Dr. Miller, cautious but resolute, stepped forward. "And you believe Earth holds those answers?" Korak nodded. "Your planet's magnetic field has done what no weapon or force in our galaxy could. It has disabled our technology, rendered us powerless. Our fleet, the pride of our empire, is lost. We need your help to understand this." The diplomats and military advisors exchanged uneasy glances. The tension in the air was palpable. If this was a trap, it was a highly sophisticated one. But there was something in Korak's eyes, a genuine fear, that made them pause. Earth had not known the Draconians to show weakness before, and yet here they were, seeking help. "We don't know everything about the anomaly," Dr. Miller replied, "but we can try to understand it. Together." Korak's eyes softened, and he gave a slight nod of agreement. "You may not realize it, but the disappearance of our fleet has shaken the very foundation of our empire. It has left us vulnerable, and we are no longer in a position of strength." The truth was, the Draconians were not just asking for help, they were offering something in return. They had powerful technology, knowledge, and a strategic position in the galaxy. They could teach Earth much, but they also needed Earth's help to regain their status. The balance of power had shifted, and the Draconians were no longer the invincible force they once were. Dr. Carter spoke up, his voice steady. "If we help you, it's not just about technology. There are other factors to consider. We're not looking for dominance. We need a relationship built on trust. Can we count on that?" Korak hesitated, his gaze shifting to his crew before meeting Dr. Carter's eyes again. "We understand. We can't undo the past, but we can choose how we move forward. What we propose is an exchange. You help us understand your planet's anomaly, and in return, we offer knowledge, advanced technology, resources, and protection." The delegation looked at each other, considering the offer. The stakes were high, and the risks were even higher. The galaxy was a vast and unpredictable place, and while Earth's military strength was growing, they were still no match for the Draconians, let alone other unknown threats. This alliance could provide Earth with a chance to rise above its humble beginnings and become a respected power among the stars. But it also carried the possibility of betrayal. After a long moment of silence, Dr. Miller nodded slowly. "We agree to the terms, but we will not rely solely on your technology. We want to explore this anomaly together and learn from each other." Korak's expression softened with something akin to relief. "Then let us begin." As the two sides began to discuss their next steps, a sense of cautious optimism spread through the room. The Draconians, no longer a dominating force, were now seeking Earth's partnership. In return, Earth would learn from their advanced technology, but also remain cautious, aware that even an ally as powerful as the Draconians could one day turn on them. The room grew quiet as the gravity of the situation set in. The partnership between Earth and the Draconians was not just about science and technology. It was about survival. Both sides had much to gain, but they also had everything to lose. The unknown forces that Korak had alluded to could be a serious threat, and if they came after Earth, humanity would have to be ready to fight. Hours passed, and the team continued to study the anomaly. New data emerged, revealing something that no one had expected. The anomaly was growing stronger, not weaker. And it wasn't just affecting the Draconians' fleet. It was expanding, threatening to consume entire sectors of space. "We need to act now," Dr. Miller said, her voice firm. "If we don't neutralize this anomaly, it will continue to spread. We can't afford to wait any longer." Korak agreed, and for the first time, both sides began to prepare for the next phase of their collaboration. The path forward was clear: work together, learn from each other, and fight to protect the future of both Earth and the Draconians. The alliance was still fragile, but it had taken root. And though the galaxy was vast and unpredictable, Earth had proven something important. It was no longer a planet to be underestimated. As they looked toward the future, both the humans and the Draconians knew that this was only the beginning. There would be many challenges ahead, but together, they would face them, united by a shared hope for peace and a future where both their worlds could thrive.